The comparative market analysis, or CMA, is one of the most commonly used methods of property valuation used in real estate. It's also sometimes referred to as a competitive market analysis. This process estimates the value of a property, comparing its qualities with similar properties in the area. The properties being used for the comparisons are referred to as comparables. A CMA is generally considered an overview of the property's value and is primarily used to establish the proper price range for listing a property. A CMA is not an appraisal, inspection, or evaluation, and there are laws in place prohibiting real estate agents from mistaking one for another. CMAs are considered opinions of value, and though they're helpful, they should only be understood as such. As their name suggests, CMAs rely on comparing the property being valued with other properties. For properties to function as comparables, they need to have similar attributes to the property being valued. So what are the factors that might go into a CMA? Location is probably high on the list. A property's value is directly linked to geographic location. Everything from state and county to town and road, right down to where it's physically located on a property and what kind of neighborhood. House and property size must be similar too. Square footage of the house and lot size are critical. Similar number of rooms are important as well, bedrooms and bathrooms, for instance. Another consideration is that of a home's age. When finding comparables, it's important that they are in the same age range as the home in question. These are only the basics for comparison, and depending on the specific property, other criteria will be considered. These might be factors like parking, outbuildings, and garages. These can also add or subtract value from a comparable property. But if I'm trying to value one house and find 3 perfectly comparable houses, how do I know what their value is? This is where the multiple listing service comes in. Having access to the MLS is an invaluable asset for creating a CMA. Through the MLS, real estate agents can view houses currently on the market, recently sold properties, as well as properties that have recently expired. Recently sold homes inform you as to the condition of the local market and what consumers are currently willing to pay for similar properties. It also indicates the general direction of the market. For instance, if properties in the area are appreciating or not. When looking at recently sold properties, an agent will only look back 6 months or so, as market value can change quickly. Using the MLS to view similar properties that recently sold is one of the primary methods for creating a CMA. Competing properties can further contextualize the value of property. Current competition and market expectation for similar properties can directly affect the value and a seller's asking price. Lastly, let's consider recently expired properties. While they won't show what a property value currently is, they will show what the value is not. Recently expired means the listing didn't sell and the listing agreement was allowed to expire. This usually indicates prices buyers are not willing to pay. Some sellers may put a property permanently on the market for a high price in hopes that they'll get lucky and some wealthy party will be willing to pay it. These higher-priced homes that rarely sell are not that useful for creating a CMA, but do contextualize the market and can be helpful in educating clients who have unrealistic expectations. Now that we understand how CMAs work, let's look at the basic steps taken to create one. First, evaluate the neighborhood. This will be done through the MLS, but can also include other market research. Second, gather details about the subject property. It's important to establish accurate criteria for finding comparables. Next, select comparable properties. These will narrow the price range depending on their similarities to the subject property. Then, adjust for differences. No property is the same as another. Some adjustments will need to be made. And finally, determine the price per square foot after adjustments. All this information will generally be gathered in a CMA form like this one. As a final note, Always remember that CMAs are opinions of value, and as such are subjective. When performing research for creating one, it's important to do everything in your power to ensure that a CMA is an accurate representation of the property's value. Also, remember that the National Association of Realtors requires certain information be included in every CMA. So when preparing one, make sure to perform your due diligence.